Hello friends and welcome. Today I'm going to be showing you a really fun way to paint a mountain. And to begin with, I have drawn out a fairly simple mountain peak, a lonely mountain rather than a mountain range, and I've put some masking fluid down. You can see those little blue patches there where I want to keep some snow on the high peaks and little rocky crags and outcrops. And now I'm just using my mop brush to wet the paper where the mountain is. I'm leaving the background for now, I'm going to do that later. To do this I'm using my Escoda Ultimo synthetic mop brush. It's a size 10 and it's wonderful. It's my favourite brush. And I'm beginning with a beautiful purple colour. This is dioxazine violet. I think I've pronounced that right. Maybe not. And I'm mixing it with some ultramarine. This is a favourite colour combination for me at the moment. And I can see I'm just lightly brushing it on there, working from right to left in a diagonal sweep, giving the mountain a little bit of shadow. I'm putting a little bit of extra ultramarine just behind the masking fluid, just at the tops of those little bits there. You can see it's just creating a slight flood of darker colour, giving the impression of a little bit of shadow, some deepnesses in the mountain crevasses. There we go, you can see the two colours on my palette there. You can see I'm using nice diluted versions of them. These are two lovely bright strong colours. As soon as you add a little bit of water to them straight out of the tube, they start to granulate slightly and just give this really nice sort of misty, distant mountain sort of impression. So I've taken that away and let that dry, and now I'm going to put in a lovely sky. And to do that, again, I am wetting the paper first with my brush and some clean water. Always make sure to use clean water, otherwise you'll get a muddy sky. So I'm going to wet the paper and then come in with some paint. Today I'm going to be using cerulean blue and opera rose pink. And you can see I'm using the tip of my brush to go very carefully around the outside of the mountain's edge. I don't want to overlap and get any colour bleed from the purple on the mountain, because I want to do quite a pale sort of wistful sky, maybe a sort of a dawnish sky, pink and blue, but yes, I don't really want any colour bleed here. So you can see I'm beginning with some cerulean blue, putting it in quite carefully around the top of the paper, and then using my brush to bring the colour down, controlling it around the edge of the mountainside. And here is the opera rose pink that I'm adding in, just to give a little bit of extra texture to that sky. I think these colours all work beautifully together. Lovely sort of pastel, dreamy mountain scene. I'm being quite careful with the opera rose, as it's a very, very bright pigment, and a little goes a long way. You can see I'm only putting it on quite lightly here. I don't want a vibrant straw highlighter pink, I just want a dreamy pastel pink today. And now you can see here I'm just popping in a few clouds very quickly whilst the background paint is still wet. With the wet sky, the clouds are diffusing in nicely. Just want a little drift of clouds, nothing too big or ominous today. And for the colour I'm using a mix of the violet with a little bit of Payne's grey, just to deepen it down a little bit. And you can see that I'm being quite careful here and just using the tip of my mop brush to put in a few delicate lines and strokes. Just using the flat side of my brush there, because my brush isn't very wet. It's lightly damp, so that side doesn't have a lot of pigment or water in it, so I can use that to pull a little bit of excess paint and excess water out of the paper whilst it's still wet. And now I'm happy with the sky, so it's time to add a little more detail into the mountainside. And for that today, I'm going to be using Payne's Grey and my flat brush. This is a Mastertouch Aquamarine watercolour flat brush in a size 10. And you can see that I'm basically dry brushing in a diagonal line from right to left, going from the top down to the bottom. I'm starting where my masking fluid is. I haven't removed that yet because that's going to be my bright white snowy highlights, and so I want to begin there with my darks to give the contrast of light and shadow behind. You can see just really pulling those directional strokes there, and I'll be doing that over the entire mountain. I must say, however, as a right-handed person, this was quite awkward for me, and perhaps next time I will do the directionality of my mountain the reverse way. I always find it easier somehow to move my brush from left to right. Not quite sure why that is. I assume it's because I'm right-handed, or maybe that's just because it's our natural way of reading and doing things. But yeah, this was really fun to do, and you can see the dry brush going on there. Now, a small note, this paper I'm using is not my usual. This is an A4 piece of Stratford watercolour paper. It says on the pack that it is cold pressed, and that is true. It does have a little bit of texture. However, it is also very soft and smooth. It doesn't have the usual texture I would associate with cold pressed paper, so I liken this a lot more to hot pressed, which, if you've used that before, you know that is incredibly smooth, and it's quite difficult to dry brush on because you don't have that texture to pick up the paint from your brush. It's very easy to be a bit too heavy-handed and just leave a streak of paint rather than getting that lovely sort of half and half light and dark texture that you're looking for. And this paper, like I've said, is behaving quite a lot like hot press paper. In this instance, it's quite difficult to dry brush on. You can see I'm struggling with some of the strokes. You have to be quite careful, and my brush is not very wet. It's sort of medium damp. It's hard to describe brush dampness over the internet, but I'm doing my best. I haven't loaded it with very much paint, and I'm using very light strokes and trying to only get the tips of the brush on the paper, and just keeping my strokes light, picking up whatever texture there is, creating some of my own really, and yeah, still trying to get this lovely dry brush effect. The lovely Payne's grey darks here with some of the beautiful purpley blue lilac colours still showing through. And this is another reason I love masking fluid as well. I don't have to worry about leaving my whites white because they are safe and protected under the masking fluid. I can just go to town with my Payne's grey, sweep away, knowing that I can rub it all off later. As you can see, I've switched to a small brush to try and get a little bit more detail into these darker patches. This is simply a small synthetic round brush. I'll pop the details of everything that I use in the description below the video as usual if you're interested. But yes, this is simply a small synthetic round brush that I'm just using to add a little bit of careful extra darkness into this painting. Right, I think we're done with the mountain now. I apologise for the change of light in this video. It got dark very quick while I was waiting for my Payne spray to dry. Just dull down the colours slightly, which is annoying, but there you go. So now I'm just putting in a little backdrop to this mountain. I wanted a beautiful calm lake, which is why I've used this brush to put in some water, and now I'm just drifting some of my violet paint into the water in a vague sort of reflection of the mountain that I've created. The brush I'm using is a Winsor Newton Cotman 1-stroke flat brush. It's 3/4 of an inch. It's a lovely brush for this sort of work. Really can highly recommend this brush. And you can see how I can use this flat brush to simply draw in some lines and a little bit of detail there, just pour some of the colour down and create a distant lakeshore. It's as simple as that. It's lovely getting these lovely straight lines using the chisel sort of flat edge of this brush. And now I'm using my smallest brush just to put in a little bit of detail on this lakeshore. I decided that seeing it was a mountain scene, some conifers seemed appropriate. Some nice sort of fir or pine trees here. The brush I'm using is a Pro Arte Masterstroke Series 60 miniature brush, quadruple 0 or 4/0 size. It's very fine and it's perfect for this sort of fine detail work here. See, these trees are small but perfectly formed. So I'm just going to go along here and use simple strokes, a line and then a few diagonals to put in some lovely conifer trees. And just as a finishing touch, I'm popping in a little bit more violet with this flat brush and just some easy horizontal sweeps just to emphasize the reflection of the mountain in the water. And here we have the finished painting. I apologise again for the light. It looks a little darker here than it actually is. The blues are far more vibrant in real life. I will be trying to get a decent photograph in good sunlight for the thumbnail of this video so you can see it in all its true glory. But thank you for watching, everybody. I hope you enjoyed this demonstration. I hope it inspired you. And I hope you can leave a like on this video and subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. We'd love to have you, and I will be continuing to post more artwork for the foreseeable future. That's all from me for now. Thank you and goodbye.